Welcome to another episode of Fit Dad Club Podcast. You're here with Travis Jones, and we have another episode of Real Talk. And today we're going to talk about your peer group, because you tell me your friends and I'll tell you your future. Now, I always wondered why some people would pull the trigger and control their habits and change their life, and why some people simply couldn't follow through with their goals longer than 2 weeks before giving up. And I believe the answer comes down to your peer group. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I'm sure you've heard that before. Now, your goals align with the people you surround yourself with. And over the last decade, you've surrounded yourself with people with similar habits and interests. That's what we do as people. We have friends with similar interests as us. And that could have meant for you more drinking, more eating, and more spare time watching something whilst eating and drinking. It just is what it is. But my question is, are your top 5 friends aligned with your goals to change your life? Are they high performance people? Are they pushing forward in the direction that you are trying to change? Are they creating an environment for success, or are they creating an environment that's actually holding you back? Do they train, or do they make excuses? Do they eat well, or do they blame something for why they can't eat well? Are they healthy and fit, or do they have justifications on why they can't because some form of lack of resources? They don't have time, or they don't have money, and they just can't do it. You know, if these are your friends and you're trying to change, then you need to understand that your environment either supports your change or stops your change. I'm sure you've heard the analogy of crabs in a bucket before. If you've got crabs in a bucket and one crab tries to climb out of the bucket, the other crabs start to pull it back in. And this can be your friendship group. You start losing weight, you cut back on drinking, you start going to the gym and you make it a priority, and all of a sudden your friends start to say things to you. It happens mostly with guys. You've lost too much weight, you're looking skinny, or you're still doing that gym thing, when are you going to stop doing that? Or just have a drink, don't be a baby, and we try and peer pressure you into breaking your diet. Now, this happens because your change is confronting to them. They see you in a specific way, in a certain way that provides certainty to them as your friend. And as humans, we crave certainty. So if you change, it starts to make them question themselves whether they need to change as well. So instead of changing, they consciously or subconsciously start to pull you down. It's just what happens, and I see it time and time again. So if you truly want to change, you need to create an environment of people around you that support this change. Rather than telling you to break your diet, if you fall off, they actually try and help you back on. Instead of asking you if you're still doing that gym thing in a negative way, they ask you to go to the gym with you and work even harder. You see, we rise or fall to the expectations of those people who surround us. If we surround ourselves with people who are aligned with a new healthy version of us, and they train and they talk about health and fitness and they follow a healthy eating plan, then we simply do the same. We assume the identity of the group. That's how we are as humans. There is also what's known as an exposure effect. If you're constantly being exposed to health-based conversations, ways of transforming your body, about performing at a higher level, then we start to see ways on how we can implement these into our life. You might be thinking, this is all a bit far-fetched. I don't believe it. But a study came out in the New England Journal of Medicine found that friendships are crucial to your health. If a friend is obese, then the likelihood of you becoming obese increases by 57%. That stat is alarming. So I say the statement that I said at the start of the podcast again. You tell me your friends and I'll tell you your future. You might not like me telling you this, but I want you to change your peer group for a period of time. I need you to limit your exposure to your current friends if they aren't aligned with the higher version of you, the healthier version of you, the peak performance version of you. If they aren't aligned with these, I need you to limit your exposure to them whilst you're creating these new habits, whilst you solidify them into your life and you can't get pushed off track. I need you to find a new peer group. I need you to find a peer group of friends who are aligned with it. Now, sometimes we have to pay to be a part of this peer group. Sometimes we can join a group fitness gym, but we can join an online program where you can be supported by these friends, or just reach out to friends that you might kind of know and become really good friends with them. I don't care what you do, but doing nothing doesn't solve the problem. So when this podcast is over, I want you to do one thing, because action is always the antidote. And I don't want you to be callous to your current friends if they aren't helping you move forward. Just limit exposure. Just catch up on a couple of drinks less. Find other ways to catch up with them, like going for a walk or taking your kids down to the park and playing with them where food and alcohol aren't involved. Because I want you to remember, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. The people you spend the most time with shape who you are. They determine what conversations dominate your attention. And where we place our attention in life is what shapes our life. Remember, we live by design, not by default. So I need you to design your peer group. That will design your life. And that is what I want you to focus on over the next 7 days. And that's another episode of Real Talk with Travis Jones. Go to fit-dad.club if you want some coaching from us. But until next week, I'll talk to you soon.